This is the ultimate guide to spending your Starry ores, so you can get more power from your equipment with only limited investment. This guide will utilize the info from my recent equipment rankings, as well as my minimum levels and synergy guides to ensure it has the most evidence behind it. By the end of this video, you'll have no doubts on how to spend your Starry ore with the current meta in the game. Let's go ahead and first discuss how this guide should be used, because obviously not all of us are in the same place and not all players have all the equipment unlocked. This guide is going to be structured in a stepwise way where you should be doing one step and then the next step and then so on and so forth. Sometimes we'll get to an equipment that you don't have yet, and that's 100% okay. Just skip to the next step, and then once you do have the equipment that we skipped over, come back and fill in the steps that you missed. The goal of this guide is to allow you to have all of the meta equipment that are currently in use up to a decent level so that you guys can go ahead and use them and then find the best ways to get them stronger faster. For me, the non-negotiable epic equipment that need to be upgraded are the spiky ball, the snake bracelet, the action figure, the magic mirror, the fireball, the dark crown, the electro boots, and finally the rocket spear. And with that preface out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, to start things off on this list, we have the number one and most consistent equipment of the game, the Electro Boots. The thing is, I actually don't recommend that you spend some Starry ores on the Electro Boots first. Like I mentioned in my minimum levels video, the Electro Boots have 66% of the aura damage at literally just level 1. So I don't think you should be spending your Starry ore here in the beginning. Instead, I would go ahead and start at the number 2 equipment, which is the Spiky Ball. This piece of equipment scales pretty decently over time, and the investment does help you as it is linear in its improvement. Thus, I would go ahead and get this equipment up to level 9, which is the first level that you actually have to invest your Starry ores for epic equipment. By doing this, you go from the 8% of the total damage burst potential to 34% of the total damage burst potential of this equipment, and that is a delta of 26% for only 10 Starry ores, which is really good. Next in line would generally be the fireball, but I think we need to have a discussion here. This is because the fireball is an all or nothing equipment. You either have enough for the funnel or you don't. If you're at a higher town hall like town hall 15 or town hall 16 or higher, then you're gonna want a big radius for that fireball to actually be effective. And that only happens at level 24, which is the minimum level for the fireball, and that's quite a bit of investment for Starry ores. If you're a lower town hall, it might be okay to go piecewise with the fireball, but honestly, I really think it's only best when you get it to those higher levels. And that's why I would recommend waiting to upgrade the fireball until later in the guide. I'm going to tell you exactly when. And the reason for it is it's just way too expensive to get it to a good level. So if we skip over the fireball, the next step is the dark crown if you use the minion prince in air attacks. If you don't use the minion prince or you don't intend on doing any air attacks in your journey, you can go ahead and skip to the next part. The reason we're going to upgrade the dark crown is it's going to go from 10% of its total benefit to hit points and DPS all the way up to 40% of it at level 9. That's a 30% delta for merely 10 Starry ores, which is really good. Next, after this piece of equipment, we are going to focus on the rocket spear. And the reason for this is simple. You start with 28% of the total burst damage potential for the rocket spear at level 1, and you go all the way up to 51% at level 9, which is absolutely insane. That's a 23% delta between those levels, and that's a really high percentage of damage for only 10 Starry ores. Next on the list, we have the action figure puppet for the Archer Queen, which we're going to upgrade to level 9. Now, I'll be honest with you, the action figure is one of those pieces of equipment that really benefits from those higher levels later on. However, it is pretty much used in every single attack with the Archer Queen, so we might as well go ahead and start investing into it so you can benefit early on. By investing only 10 Starry ores into the action figure puppet, you can get 4% of the total possible tanking, and that's gonna go all the way up to 17% of the total possible tanking at level 9. And again, that's only a delta of 13%, but that's why it is later in the list in phase 1. After that, we're gonna go ahead and have the snake bracelet upgraded to level 9. Again, this is a similar thing. This equipment has a lot of potential at those higher levels later on, but by investing investing 10 Starry ores into this equipment now, you can take it from 11% of the maximum snake hit points all the way up to 24% of the maximum snake hit points at a price of 10 Starry ores. And again, that's a delta of 13 through this upgrade. Next, we're gonna have the Electro Boots circle back and we're gonna upgrade it right now. This is going to cause the aura damage to go from 66% to 78%, and that is a delta of 12. And a reminder that this will also affect the self-healing per second and the passives that you're also getting as a result from this equipment. But the reason we're investing into it, even though the returns are minimal, is because it is really cheap right now and we're pretty much gonna use it at every single attack. After that, to finish off our first round of upgrades, we're going to finish with the magic mirror by getting it to level 9. Doing this will allow us to get from 6% of the total damage burst potential to 19% of the total damage burst potential, and that is a delta of 13. And the reason we're doing the magic mirror after the Electro Boots is that although it's a very good piece of equipment, we are not going to be using it every single attack. Sometimes you'll use the queen with the giant arrow, for example. So as a result, we're going to put it after the Electro Boots. So in this phase, we've upgraded every single type of meta equipment except for the Fireball, which is an all or nothing type of equipment. And thus, for a mere 70 Starry ores, we've gotten the equipment that you see on screen right now to this much percentage of their maximum effects. And as you guys can see, we've generated a decent amount of power for a very mild cost. If we consider that each of these 8 epic equipment can have 100% of their total effect, then the total effect that we can have out of all of them is 800%. If you add up the percentages that are on the screen right now, it adds up to 263%. So we're getting almost 30% of the maximum effect of these equipment. But guess how much Starry ore we've invested compared to how much we would need to max out these pieces of equipment? Less than 2%. And that's why you're watching this video. This is the type of value that I want to create, and I hope that you guys are getting from this guide. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to phase 2, which is going to be levels 9 through 18. Now, it's more important that you're selective about these upgrades from this moment on, because from now on, it's going to become pretty expensive. Any one equipment between level 9 and 18 will cost you 100 Starry ores, which is more ores than we've invested in all of phase 1, by the way. To get things started off, we're going back to the spiky ball, which is going to be used in pretty much every attack. It is going to go from 34% of its maximum damage potential to 67% through this investment, and that is a delta of 34%. After that, we're going to go ahead and go to the action figure puppet next. When we upgrade this, it's going to have its tanking potential go from 17% to 49%, which is a delta of 32. And again, we prioritize these things first because we're going to use them most consistently, and we get a strong delta or change from these upgrades. Next up, if you do air attacks, you are undoubtedly going to be using the Minion Prince, so the next step would be the Dark Crown. And through these upgrades, it's going to go from 40% of its benefit potential to 70%, which is a delta of 30. After that, we can go ahead and go back to the Magic Mirror, and the reason we're doing this is because we get a pretty strong delta due to the extra Queen copy at level 18. It's going to go from 19% of its total damage potential to 53% of its total damage potential, and this is a delta of 34%. Next up, we're going to double back to the Snake Bracelet, so another piece of King equipment. It's going to go from 24% of its maximum snake hit point spawning potential to 56%, and that is a delta of 32%. To end off this phase, we are going to go to the Rocket Spear last. Getting it to level 18 will increase its damage burst potential from 51% all the way up to 79%, which is a delta of 28. Now you'll notice that I haven't mentioned the Electro Boots, and the reason for that is because you're only going to gain 11%, and that is lower than any of the other deltas during this phase. Thus, I would recommend just holding off on it and not upgrading it during phase 2. Therefore, in total, by the end of phase 2, you will have invested 670 Starry ores into your epic magic equipment. And out of the 800% total strength that you can get out of these pieces of equipment, you already have 452% of that strength. Note that this is without any levels on the fireball, so it's more like 452% out of 700%. And we've only invested 17% of the Starry ores that are required to go ahead and max these pieces of equipment. Alright, now we're on to phase 3, and here things get really expensive, so we're only going to upgrade things that are going to give us meaningful differences. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how expensive it is, a level 21 upgrade will cost 100 Starry ores, a level 24 upgrade will cost 120 Starry ores, and a level 27 upgrade will cost 150 Starry ores. Thus, we're only going to keep it to meaningful upgrades until phase 4. To start off, we have the action figure puppet, which we're going to get to level 21. By investing the 100 Starry ores it takes to get to level 21, we're gonna go from 49% hit points to 68% of the total hit points, and that is going to be a delta of 19, which is an appreciable change. This is when the action figure really starts to ramp up, but we're gonna go ahead and wait until phase 4 for the rest of it. Next up, we have the snake bracelet, which we're also going to get to level 21. By doing this, we're gonna get from 56% of the maximum hit points spawned to 72% of the maximum hit points spawned in snakes. This is a delta of 16, and again, it's an appreciable change and one that I would consider for the 100 Starry ores. The next thing that I would recommend upgrading in this phase is the fireball. Now, the fireball gets the majority of its effect from a single upgrade, and that is the upgrade from level 23 to level 24, and that's why we've waited so long. I think right now would finally be an ideal time to finally go ahead and invest into that fireball. By doing this, you'll be able to go all the way up from the base damage, which is about 16% of the max, to 95% at level 24, and this is going to help you funnel a lot easier and consistently. And finally, to finish off phase 4, you can go ahead and take your electro boots and go from level 9 to level 18. This will allow you to go from 78% of the aura damage to 89% of the aura damage, and this is only a delta of 11, but because it is so cheap compared to everything else that we have at this point, I think it's worth doing right now. And aside from those equipment, you don't really have to worry about the other pieces of equipment. They're more than useful right now until we get to phase 4. Out of the 800% total effect of these equipment, we have now achieved by the end of this phase 593% of that. And we've spent 1300 Starry ores up until now, which is 34% of what is required to max out these equipment. Finally, we're at phase 4, which is the phase where we're going to max out these pieces of equipment in an order that actually makes sense. If you're in this phase, then congratulations, you're really lucky. I'm lucky too, not because my equipment are here, but because I have all of you. Anyways, to start off this phase, we're going to do the magic mirror first. This is because the magic mirror is really heavily dependent on those last 9 levels. We're gonna take it from 53% of its damage burst capability to 100% in just those 9 levels. Next, we're gonna go ahead and complete the spiky ball. It's going to go from 67% of its maximum damage capability all the way up to 100%. That is a delta of 33. After that, we're gonna go ahead and complete the action figure puppet. It's gonna go from 68% of its maximum tanking capability all the way up to 100%. That is a delta of 32. The next step after that is going to be finishing the dark crown. If you do use it, it's going to go from 70% of its maximum effect all the way up to 100% of its maximum effect. That is a delta of 30. Next up, we're going to go ahead and finish off the snake bracelet. It's going to go from 72% of its maximum effect to 100% of its maximum effect. That is a delta of 28. Next up, we have the rocket spear. It's going to go from 79% of its maximum effect all the way up to 100%, and that is a delta of 21. After that, we have the electro boots. It's going to go from 89% of its aura damage all the way up to 100%, and that is a delta of 11. Now, that is a small delta, 100%, but because we're going to use it in pretty much every single attack, it is worth upgrading. Finally, we have the fireball, which is going to go from 95% of its total damage all the way up to 100% in those last 3 levels. Only a delta of 5, but of course, if you're using the fireball, every bit of damage does does count, so it is worth upgrading. And with that, we have completed probably what is one of the most helpful guides I think that I've ever made for you guys, and hopefully one that I don't have to update anytime soon. That being said, this guide does not cover all the aspects of the equipment, and you might be confused as to how we even got these numbers in the first place. And if that's the case, don't worry. All you have to do is just check out this playlist right here, which has all of my master guides on equipment that have been recently updated, so you know you're gonna get the best information.